What's up guys, it's me TXT Bands and I'm back with a new Boruto video this month. Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 4 just came out and the title is Awakening, and this month's chapter might be the craziest Boruto chapter of the time skip yet because of all the reveals that we get. More of Boruto's power gets revealed, the new major villain group gets revealed, and Sasuke's whereabouts are finally revealed after 3 chapters of not seeing him. And with the villain group in particular, many theories have been created on their purpose and identity and what role they're going to play in the story. And with Sasuke again, the reveal of his situation might upset some Sasuke fans because he's not in the greatest of situations. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So without further ado, let's begin going through the chapter. The cover for this chapter shows Kawaki looking fly as always, and he isn't the most important character in this chapter, but he does show up a little bit, mainly just to be a nuisance to Boruto because that's all he seems to be at this point. And we begin the actual chapter now with Code fumbling around in his 10 Tails dimension because he's still affected by Uzuhiko. And he remembers Boruto's warnings about the dangers of the claw grimes. And he seems now to finally take his warnings into consideration now that Boruto has kind of beat him up a little bit. And from his back pocket, we see the frog pop out again, Boruto's frog, and he's telling Boruto telepathically to hurry up. And Boruto, who's currently in a face-off in Konoha with Kawaki, he uses the Flying Raijin, or Flying Thunder God technique, to teleport to Code's location. He notes that he's not as skilled as Minato, who would be his grandpa, but it still takes a great deal of talent to pull off this technique in the first place, since we only know 2 users of it, Minato and Tobirama. And there's no answer here of how he learned the technique because Minato is of course already gone, and Code, he's completely shocked by the use of this technique because he didn't know Boruto could teleport through dimensions, and he's never seen a move like that before. But as Code is looking at Boruto, who just teleported, the 10 Tails literally just disappears, like vanishes in an instant. And this confuses Boruto and Code and the frog, so like everyone there. So we know it's not Code's doing. And Boruto looks at the tree that Code passed last chapter that has Bug entrapped in it. And he looks at it with suspicion because he knows something that others don't about these trees. Then behind them, a clawgrime-like being who resembles Bug greatly reveals himself. And this being has 2 Rinnegan in his eyes, which shows off his power without even having to fight, since we already know he's super strong. Code looks at him and immediately thinks that it's Bug because it resembles Bug greatly, but then he looks over at the tree and Bug's body is still there. And Boruto then tells Code that this entity is not actually Bug, but it is now called Shinju. And basically, this Shinju formed because Bug's chakra was taken from the tree that he was trapped in. So with that logic, any tree that forms from the claw grimes is a great threat because Bug wasn't too much of a powerful fighter anyway. But this Bug Shinju is. And the Bug Shinju launches himself forward at Boruto, quickly attacking and dragging him across the wall. And he remarks that he plans to feast on Boruto, and this is because Boruto is Otsutsuki, and that's just his natural instinct to feast on Otsutsuki to create a chakra fruit. And Boruto, not wanting to be feasted upon, uses a lightning attack, which he probably learned from Sasuke because it's similar to a Sasuke jutsu. He uses this attack to zap Bug, and it attacks Boruto again with a big claw hand and chomps down on Boruto, but Boruto sneakily teleports away, showing that he's really speedy with his teleportation nowadays, and he teleports over back to where Code is standing. Now, Code, let's focus in on him for a second. He's in a horrible state right now, and he just wants Boruto to explain everything to him because he's like fallen over, not able to understand anything because of Uzuhiko. And Code is just proving to be more and more pathetic every time he appears. And Boruto deactivates Uzuhiko now on Code because he kind of needs him in the fight against the Bug Shinju. Boruto might not be strong enough to fight him alone. And Boruto tells Code that all the people who got turned into trees are involved in making this Ten Tails disappear. That's when we see a second Shinju who looks a lot like Ishiki to me. He's floating up in the sky just like how Ishiki was floating up above Konoha in that one scene. And he says that as Shinju, their original instinct is to use the lives of a planet to make a chakra fruit. But now that they have been awakened by Code's tinkering, they have gained a personality and a will of their own. So they're essentially doing whatever they want now. And these Shinju have a different plan in mind for the Ten Tails than just consuming it. Then a third Shinju walks out, this one being a female Shinju, and she mocks Code about constantly being used by others for their advantage, like how he got used by Ishiki and now he's being used by them. This one is kind of hard to discern who it is, but the hair looks like Moegi, who is Konohamaru's friend and the sensei of Inoshika Cho. If you remember, she developed wood release in Boruto, so maybe she is strong enough to have a strong Shinju. And things are getting bad because Boruto struggled with just one Shinju, the Bug Shinju, and now there are 3 of them here. Then, Boruto even spots a 4th Shinju, this one having a hood, and he pays particular attention to this one, and we'll see why he pays that attention to him when we come back. But now we cut away from that dimension, back to the Hokage's office in Konoha, with Kawaki and Shikamaru. And the 2 of them are discussing Boruto, like always, and how he disappeared with some space-time ninjutsu that they never seen before. The 2 of them deduce that Boruto actually came to the village solely to target Code. He had no issues with the village at all, even though that was kind of obvious to the fan base. But Sarada barges in because she thinks clearly, unlike them 2, and realizes that Boruto was actively protecting the village from Code. Sarada is able to acknowledge Boruto's goodness because she obviously wasn't brainwashed by Ida's omnipotence, but Kawaki can't acknowledge the fact that Boruto is working on the side of good, and he's just going to continue trying to kill Boruto just because he's an Otsutsuki, and he doesn't feel safe with him around. Kawaki is kind of hypocritical because he's an Otsutsuki too, but he says that his power only exists to kill other Otsutsuki, and he'll die away when he accomplishes that goal. But this is just dumb logic because Boruto also wants to kill Otsutsuki. Anyway, the topic switches and Sarada tells them about the trees and the people that are stuck in them. She says that they're salvageable and that Boruto, he actually probably knows more about the trees than everyone else does, which I think he does. And Sarada is confident that Code is the real enemy here, not Boruto. And it's just hard for her to convince Kawaki and Shikamaru to be on her side, since they're brainwashed. Now back to the good stuff in the Ten Tails dimension, we see some panels of the four Shinju that are revealed, standing side by side. Boruto, looking still at the hooded Shinju, then draws his sword, and the hooded Shinju, he notices this and attacks, and we get a better look of him now, and this hooded Shinju is clearly none other than Sasuke. And the Sasuke Shinju uses Chidori, just like the real Sasuke, while Boruto uses Rasengan, and the two attacks cancel each other out. And there are four of them, so they start attacking Boruto and Code in unison. And this is where it starts looking real bad for Boruto. The bug Shinju attacks with his claw arm, and the female Shinju attacks with the ground style, which essentially traps Boruto. And when Boruto asks for Code's help, being the sly bitch that he is, leaves Boruto hanging, and he just runs away. Even after Boruto trusted Code enough to release the Uzuhiko in order to save his life, Code just teleports away without helping Boruto at all. But it's no worries though, because Boruto is fine anyway. He just teleports away with Flying Raijin back to his base of operations. And the Ishiki Shinju looks down from the sky, where he has a little dialogue noting that Boruto is lucky that they gained a new personality because it's giving them the curiosity to let Boruto live another day instead of just like ravenously pursuing after him like they would have before, because they didn't have a personality then. The final scene of the chapter is Boruto sitting at a tree, presumably back in our world, and none other than Kashin Koji walks around the tree in order to talk to Boruto, proving the theory that Koji trained Boruto to some capacity. And Koji tells Boruto that he could have destroyed the planet since he pushed himself too hard. I think he's referring to Boruto using Uzuhiko, because Uzuhiko is possibly planetary level, and Koji tells him that their goal doesn't change with the introduction of this new villainous force, the Shinju. They're still gonna fight for their goal of saving the world and saving Sasuke. And we pan out to see that in the tree that Boruto's sitting at, Sasuke's body is trapped inside. So this conclusion could have been made earlier, since we saw the Sasuke Shinju, and Shinju arise from people getting trapped in the tree, but here it is proven at the end of the chapter. So that's where the chapter ends, and as I mentioned earlier, this chapter reveals a shit ton of stuff, the most of any Two Blue Vortex yet, I think. And Boruto using Flying Raijin, and even mentioning Minato by name, was a pretty hype reveal. And we don't get the answer of how, but I'm sure we will in the coming chapters. And the introduction of the Shinju as the time skip villain group worked because we got a sense of their strength from this chapter. I think there could possibly be more of them, because I don't see only 4 villains being present, because past groups in Naruto and Boruto have been much bigger, like the Akatsuki and Kara. And the Sasuke situation of him being a Shinju is pretty crazy, because that means that he was defeated at some point. Sasuke, who's literally like probably stronger than Naruto, the Hokage, and one of the strongest characters in all of the manga, got defeated. And there was a mention in a previous chapter that Code fought Boruto and Sasuke somewhere in the time skip, and Code must have won this battle and turned Sasuke into this tree and made the Sasuke Shinju. And we know that Sarada will be working on ways to save the people from the tree, so maybe she can save her father in the future. I don't know where it goes from here, so we'll have to wait till next month to see. And I'm sensing a more exposition heavy chapter where Kashi and Koji is probably going to talk a lot to Boruto about what happened in the time skip. And there's no problem with that. I'm all good with learning a lot of lore. And so if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe because it'll help me greatly. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.